Welcome to SteamLUG Cast Season 3, Episode 7. We are recording this live on the 3rd of April 2015. This is not a joke because we are 2 days late. So, with me I have Bean.
Hello there.
And Cheesiness.
How you doing?
So, what have you guys been playing? How about you, Bean?
Playing some Hand of Fate, still trying to finish that out. Some Guns of Icarus online during the weekly events. Some Assault Android Cactus, and a lot of Bioshock Infinite. I was kind of OCD about the install size, and I just wanted to kind of clear it out of there and get rid of it.
Has it been like sort of size to enjoyment ratio? Has it been worthwhile for you?
Yeah, I am. As you can tell, I mean, obviously, it was too big for me. So I'm not a size queen at all. So what have you been playing, Cheese?
Been streaming Cactus and Necrodancer every day again. Except for yesterday, when I had an amazing Cactus run and topped the leaderboard and stuff, and then realised that made the mistake of not bothering to stream. But also played some Guns of Icarus online yesterday with the practice event. That was a lot of fun. And I finished Hand of Fate. Well, when I say finished, I defeated the final encounter. And that was a lot of fun. I found time to play through the latest Chasm Alpha, which has been out for a little while. I just hadn't had time to get back to it, and really looking forward to seeing more content in that game. It's pretty cool. And I also streamed a FTL playthrough where a bunch of people from SteamLUG and stuff were chiming in and helping make bad decisions. Were you there for that one, Pete?
Oh yeah, I'm always happy to help out with the bad decisions.
Oh, that's right, you were the pilot. I named all the crewmen after people who were in the stream or in Mumble.
Yeah, I believe I was a bit reckless.
Yeah, you did fly us into some sticky situations.
I enjoy sticky situations.
Dear me. Alright, Dorito, what about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, I've been playing a lot of CSGO lately, but also lots of other games. Played all through the main campaign of Bioshock Infinite, which runs quite well for being a rep port, but my goodness is this game overrated. I played only a couple of hours of Pillars of Eternity, and I played a lot of hours of Cities Skylines, and I have a big, well-functioning metropolis to call my own. And also some Torchlight 2 and a bit of Shadow Warrior, which has insanely fun swordplay.
Yeah, do you want to talk a bit more about that? Because you've been mentioning a couple of times in Mumble that you thought some of the bits and pieces were particularly interesting.
Sure, but let's cover this when we get to the bundle news.
Oh yes, of course, we got it later, sorry.
So, we had some events, but I pretty much attended none of them, so who was around for Frozen Cortex?
I think it's going to be like that. I've been super busy and didn't manage to make any of these either. What about you, Bean? Did you catch any of these?
I didn't make it to any of these.
They were all awesome. Absolutely stacked.
Yeah, all awesome. We schedule these things and don't attend them, but I would have, but I didn't have any money left after the release madness of last month. And Frozen Cortex is not a game I own yet. Neither is 7 Days to Die, and Hammerwatch I wasn't around for God knows what reason.
I was really hoping to make the Frozen Cortex one, but I ran out of time. I've got the game, but I've never played it, and I thought that would be a really good opportunity to sort of dive in and see how things went. That's how I discovered. No, that is Frozen Cortex. I have played it before. Sorry, I was thinking of what's the one that Frozen Endzone was renamed to?
That is Frozen Cortex. It's a sports ball game with robots.
Oh, are you sure? What's the original one then?
Frozen Synapse.
Ah, that's it. Okay, yeah. Alright, in that case, Frozen Cortex was the one I was looking at getting into, and I was sad about missing this one. What a lovely story.
Yes, then there was 7 Days to Die. I think Nomura was around for that a lot, but he isn't here. So moving on to Hammerwatch, which we play quite often, and do you guys know if that went on as crazy long as it did last time, even though you weren't there?
Yeah, I have no idea, so I wasn't able to make it. I was out of town that day.
And then we had King Arthur's Gold. For upcoming events, we have Natural Selection 2 right after the cast. I guess I'll be around for that a bit. Then we have Tabletop Simulator on the 4th. And Team Fortress 2 on the 10th. Is that a special one? Any kind of special mode or just generic TF2?
As far as I'm aware, it's just normal TF2. I'll be around for that.
Yeah, this one's listed as generic TF2.
And here's the big special one, the new Worms Clan Wars on the 11th.
Woo! I've been waiting for that for a long time. So it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of turnout we get.
Yeah, it's finally out. I've played the single player a bit, and there is that lady from the IT crowd voicing the lady in the game. I don't know her actual name.
Oh, Jen Barber.
Yeah, she plays a spoof on Lara Croft. Like, I don't know, something like Tara Pinkerton or whatever her name in that game is.
Yeah, I think it's Pinkerton. But yeah, what do you think of the mechanics changes to that game? Because it is a little bit different from previous Worms incarnations.
I have not played it that much, but the ninja rope is finally not crap again. Have you played with the ninja rope a bit?
Yeah, my first impression was, what the hell have they done to the ninja rope? It doesn't work anymore.
But it didn't work in the other one we have. But now it works kind of better. I can actually make my multiple ceiling jumps again.
I could do that in Reloaded, but in this one, like, I don't know, there was something like in previous Worms games, the rope was not like the physics calculations for the rope were sort of non-existent. You could use the rope to suspend yourself in midair straight up, and even though that's not really realistic, it was certainly something that many people made heavy use of. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that you still can't do anymore, but I think they made the whole thing a lot more controllable and reliable again. But that's just my opinion, man.
So good. So in other community stuff, ERB Beta Patched is looking for people who are interested in playing some competitive CSGO and Guns of Icarus, I think. So if anybody is into those games, interested in joining up and playing with a small group of people to play more seriously and a little bit less casually than maybe we do with our regular practice events, then totally pop your name down. Goku will be helping organize some of our Dota 2 events. Very nice. Big thanks to Goku for putting his hand up to help out there.
Always.
We have a Dota 2 event coming up. When is that? That's later this month?
Yeah, it's on the 17th.
Right.
But it's always nice to see new community members step up to help organize stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I think Goku's been hanging around Mumble for quite some time, but yeah, it's great to see people getting more involved.
Tell me all about website updates.
Yeah, so John's been working fairly consistently on continuing to increase the functionality of the website. A lot of the stuff that's gone in the last push to the live site is administrative stuff that makes things like throwing out tweets about events and things a lot easier, just sort of reducing the amount of work that the admins have to do. So I'm sure you guys sort of really appreciate that, and we'll probably have some more interesting things for general users to check out at some point down the track. But it's always nice to highlight that that development effort is going on and give thanks to people contributing to that.
Absolutely. So, did you want to talk about your dev stream yesterday?
Do you want to talk about my dev stream yesterday?
I'm exhausted after watching the dev stream yesterday. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine how it was for you. Went on a little longer than I think you anticipated.
Yeah, I was kind of aiming for 1.5 hours. I knew that it was going to be longer than I typically want to do these sorts of streams for, but I wanted to sort of go back and give a bit of history to the project and show off some early prototypes and that sort of stuff. And I ended up talking straight for 3 hours. But the surprising thing was that people hung around and seemed to enjoy it, so it was fantastic. So if anybody's interested in hearing me talk about game design and the game that I'm currently working on, which is an adventure game of sorts, feel free to check out the archive. I'm hoping to have a demo up and available maybe this month.
Interesting.
Also on green, which I wasn't expecting. Did you see that being in the thing? I never got a chance to see whether or not you experienced the greenness.
I did.
Yeah, nobody said anything. I'm there waffling for 3 hours and no one's all, dude, you look like an Orion slave dude from Star Trek.
Well, it's, I just assumed that's...
Maybe they wanted you to look like that.
Yeah, I just assumed that was what you were going for.
That's my shtick. I'm the green guy.
The creative types, you can never tell.
Better put them all in prison.
It was a lot of fun to go through and talk about how some of the design decisions came about, and answer a few questions, and then also bring in the people that I've got contributing music and sound to the project. But yeah, moving on to Steam and Valve news.
Yeah, we have a new survey result for last month, and our usage went up by a whopping 0.04 percentage points. So this is me pointing out that I don't really think we should be covering these every month, because this is kind of how it's went for all the time.
Yeah.
It's up
Well, I mean, we haven't
point something, it's down point something.
we haven't covered the survey in a long time anyway. Just because it's not been interesting for exactly that reason. Just kind of put it in there and remind us to look at it.
And there was also some activity on Valve's GitHub issue tracker for a bug that apparently made the Steam client restart all Wi-Fi devices when being restarted, so making them all active. But that has already been fixed in, I think, today's Steam client beta update. So if you were suffering from that issue, you should maybe check if you can opt into the beta, which you should.
Huh.
But it's nice to see that they are still looking at that issue tracker, that it isn't forgotten about just because it was relevant once before when Steam was still in beta on Linux in general. But apparently they are looking at that, so if you have any bugs, this is a better place to report them at than any other I can think of.
Yeah, definitely.
So, CSGO has received an update. Besides some map changes, map rotation changes, this also introduced quad and 5.1 surround sound options for Linux as the first Valve game to offer you anything more than stereo. Which is nice to see that we actually are approaching even more feature parity to the Windows version. Though, I hope this will be happening to all the other Valve games as well, because while most people neglect sound in games, I actually find this kind of important.
Yeah, it's been a notable thing that's been missing, hey? Like, since the beginning, everyone's kind of been a little bit surprised that there hasn't been surround sound support.
I don't know, might be related to the middleware they were using if Fmod didn't really support more than stereo on Linux, and now it does, and they updated that version.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure what the story is.
Yeah, but the fun fact is, first time that patch came around, it defaulted to 5.1 on my system.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I tried to change it back, I was crashing all the time. Valve and code quality with their patches isn't really a thing. But they have fixed it. So, well, could have worked the first time around, but at least they fixed it.
Yeah, and it's good to see that that this stuff is still getting attention, and again, like the GitHub thing, just a nice reassurance that stuff is still happening behind the scenes, even if it may look quiet.
If it's too quiet, it just means that there are ninjas at work.
Right, but I think part of it too is that Valve needs people giving quality feedback. I mean, there's a lot of activity on the GitHub where it's just simply a +1. Yes, this is happening to me. Oh, it's happening to me on this distro with no additional information, and I think it makes it really difficult for anyone at Valve to try and track down exactly what the issue might be.
Yeah, that's a bit related to the kind of audience gamers and even Linux gamers are. While, like, on the last cast, Morgan said that Linux users were giving some of the best feedback. It's still, gaming feedback in general on bugs is a bit nah.
No, it's true.
I recently had the pleasure of reporting a bug to Canonical for Ubuntu 15.04, and it was already reported with a detailed report, giving all the details. And at that point, I really could only confirm that behavior because there was nothing to add. It's if you actually see a proper issue tracker where only people who are concerned go to and report, it's a difference to that one, the gaming one.
Absolutely. Valve's GitHub tracker is it's fun. I'm going to call it a game. I'm actually going to call it more of a game than Mountain.
I wouldn't disagree.
Dear.
We have tech news.
Hooray!
All the Them talks are available online at the URL which Cheesenose will quickly paste now.
Or not.
Any noticeable talks everybody should watch there?
I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to look at this stuff, but I'm sure that there is a bunch of interesting content. Have you caught anything, Dorita?
Actually not, but there is apparently a Ruby talk. I like Ruby. I might watch that one. So, AMD is looking for 2 developers to improve their open source Radeon driver. Do you have the skills? Do you have what it takes to be the very best? Like no one ever was. Or maybe just good enough to fix AMD's open source driver.
It's not like that's a small ask or anything.
Like just 2?
No, actually, the open source driver is quite good. And, well, if you have 2 full-time people there that only do that, that would be interesting. But I'm a bit surprised. So is this now related to... Is it the actual classic open source Radeon driver we are using anyway? Because what about AMD's plans to actually have their main driver, the catalyst replacement, open source anyway and only deliver a closed source user land? I'm not getting it. I haven't really read this. I maybe should have, but do you guys have any information on that?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
No.
Though, does it specifically state Radeon? It says you need to have experience, or at least that's a strong plus, but that's the only statement. So, it might not even mean Radeon. This might be related to their new open source driver. So yeah, this might just be well in line with their approach, with that attempt to bring out a new unified open source driver. That's cool, I guess. I hope AMD gets better. I want to have choice again when buying a graphics card. So, another conference has all its talks uploaded. It's GDC, and I guess there are the ones you really want to see, like the Vulkan one, and Ralph talks about physics programming and VR techniques.
Yeah, it's always... Whenever GDC happens, I look and I go, oh, I wish I was there, because people I know are giving talks and I'd like to catch them. And then the archives go up and I'm like, it's just more stuff than I'm going to have time to dig through. It's always inspiring to see just how much content they're able to roll out.
Yeah, no, I'm all over the monetization ones. I'm glad they have their own category. 'Cause that's all I need.
Wailing, wailing, wailing. We're wailing, wailing, wailing.
I mean,
I hope
come on now.
that we have some listeners make a sweet, sweet dubstep remix of Derrida's mad stylings just then.
Please go ahead. And there's a new NVIDIA driver beta out for 349.12. Some noticeable fixes include G-Sync shenanigans that will work now with if you only have one G-Sync monitor and all your other monitors aren't G-Synced. So it's good to see these advanced features being well supported under Linux.
Yeah, that's cool.
Though G-Sync should die in favor of Adaptive Sync, which is a Visa standard. But there's not much else notable about that.
Sorry, I've gotten distracted reading release notes. Yeah, interesting. Some of the other changes there are maybe academically interesting.
Yeah, lossless support for H.264 ABC video streams to VDPAU. And I'm just not going to bother. There's a lot of G-Sync in there. If you want to read them, you have the link. If you want to download them, you can do that with that link as well. I've been running them with no new problems.
Awesome.
Since the last beta driver, so they work well, like as usual with NVIDIA.
So moving on to general gaming news, Humble Bundle have a couple of promotions out at the moment that have Linux support. For once.
Well,
for once.
Sorry.
Remember, this one has...
They don't usually do that anymore.
No, not usually.
Let's be all condescending about the people who have started Linux gaming anew, pretty much on their own.
I know, I don't think that they should be safe from criticism just because of their past stuff.
No, they shouldn't, but that was like totally... That was so hipster dismissive, you are probably wearing your socks above your jeans now.
I'm not wearing socks.
I'm not wearing jeans.
Ooh, tell me more.
Or jeans.
I knew it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's my favorite part of the cast.
So, we have the Humble Indie Bundle number 14. It's been a while since we had the last Humble Indie Bundle. This time in the lineup we have Pixel Piracy, Unepic, Super Splatters, Outlast, Torchlight 2, La Mulana, and Shadow Warrior Special Edition.
Yeah, some really big ones in there. Though it might be said that now we have a B2 prices to get stuff again, like, which I really don't like. Though $10 to get Shadow Warrior Special Edition isn't too big of an asking price, but it's not really pay what you want anymore.
Well,
right.
I mean, I would agree with that. And I know that means that part of what they're doing is trying to make sure they hit a particular target. But, for that $10 target, though, you're getting Shadow Warrior Special Edition and Torchlight 2. And for some people, they've been waiting for Outlast for a while now. So, I mean, there's some really exciting things in there for people who are, looking to get that in there.
Well, I mean, it's also worth noting that, I mean, pay what you want. I totally believe that's a really interesting model that deserves to be explored. But if you're not paying $10, then you're totally ripping off a whole bunch of people anyway.
Though it don't want to pat my own back, but I paid $20, which isn't really important here. But I was in the top 10 contributors list for like 8 minutes, which doesn't sound like much. But normally, any amount below $100 in the early days would have left you in the top 10 contributors list for less than a minute, actually.
Right.
The contributions don't seem to be that big anymore. There's just too many bundles, and then even the big indie bundles don't just have that much of an audience anymore.
Well, I know for me, one of the things that excites me now about these bundles, because this is going to be the first indie bundle that I'm going to pass on. I already have more games than I can play, so I'm going to start playing some of the games I have. But what excites me is to see that these titles are listed, so that means down the road somewhere, I can pick it up another time.
It is nice to see Linux users contributing more money, like more total payments than Mac users still for this promotion. I don't think I've spotted that for a little while.
Yeah, but let's take a look at the games.
Yeah, tell us about Shadow Warrior.
It's a super fun, goofy shooter, and you will, if you have any taste, not shoot a lot in it because you get a sword, and that sword handles really well, and you can hit stuff with it and make special sword attacks with key powers, which is more satisfying than shooting any gun I have found in that game so far. You just hack at the monsters till they be dead. I highly recommend, if you pick up that bundle, to go for the $10 target and pick up Shadow Warrior. The port is running extremely well. There's a few features still missing in the graphics department, but it is already getting constant updates. They have fixed like one mouse issue where just slight movements of the mouse weren't properly picked up, so aiming was hard, which is kind of bad for a shooter, but that's already fixed. So it's definitely a decent port. And a great game to begin with. Published by Devolver Digital, which also published Hotline Miami and Hard Reset, which isn't on Linux, but you might know anyway. So yeah, it seems like we have another interesting indie publisher right here that is more and more Linux friendly.
The game from this bundle that's interesting to me is La Mulana. It's something that I've had my eye on for quite some time. I had known that there was a Linux port in the works, but it's taken a fair while to rear its head. But it's neat. It's this kind of very unforgiving love letter to awfully difficult I don't know what they call that stuff, Metroidvania type platformers. It's got some very, very challenging puzzles in it that the game doesn't really offer you much in the way of assistance with. You're expected to be having a notepad and jotting down stuff as you go, which is nice and refreshing as well. That's one of the things I liked about Chasm that I mentioned earlier as well. It's the first game I've played in a long time that made me pull out a pen and paper. But La Mulana is also I don't like to use the term HD. It's like a remake of a more pixelated version of the game. There's also a sequel that was crowdfunded last year, I think it was, that may or may not be getting a Linux port. I think they're using Unity, so it's probably a safe bet. But very nice to see that one here on Linux.
Also, another big one is Torchlight 2, which was released a while before the bundle actually, and I picked it up then, not anticipating this bundle properly, but at least I got to give the remaining Steam key to my nephew, so I might just play it with him. And well, it's the successor to the highly popular Torchlight 1, which also is in Linux, but you can't properly buy anywhere.
Yeah.
And this one you can buy, this one you can play, and this one is properly supported. It's a Diablo 2-like action RPG with a more colorful world. And if you're into that sort of thing, there aren't really that many options on Linux, and having one of the best ones now is really a plus.
And as Rake mentions, it's multiplayer.
Yes.
And it runs really well.
I saw someone say that it's had performance increases since its initial release, which is cool.
It definitely had. When I first ran it, I tried to I got really bad performance because I somehow set GL threaded optimizations globally to 1,
Same.
and it doesn't like that at all. Actually, you can put that on in the launch options, but I don't know if that's with the NVIDIA driver, but if you put them on globally, it will just tank completely. So here's me unofficially recommending to not turn on GL threaded optimizations globally in the NVIDIA driver.
But then we have an event, I think, for that later this month as well.
Yeah, we totally have.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So, Bean, is there anything from this bundle that you think is particularly exciting?
Torchlight 2. Actually, that was the up until BioShock Infinite got released, and its massive install size just wouldn't seriously, it was like this thing just wouldn't go away in my brain. So Torchlight 2 is the game I've been playing the most of up until then. So I look forward to going back into there. I still have yet to finish it, but it's a very good Diablo clone. It's a lot of fun.
Isn't it so that some of the developers on the team for Torchlight 1 and 2 are actual former Blizzard people who worked on Diablo 2?
Yeah.
So yeah, there you know why it is a good Diablo clone, because it's in some respect more Diablo than Diablo 3 was at launch.
I played a little bit with Nomoda and Bean and a few other SteamLUG people. I think there's a stream archive of that somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, we had like 5 people in there.
But yeah, or it might even have been more than that. I don't remember. But if anybody finds that they're having trouble with incessant clicking, there was a script that I found that allows you to use WASD for moving around. Sadly, I have a repetitive strain injury that doesn't, or that I've recovered from, but still, makes those kind of games a little bit hard to get into. But if anybody is in a similar position and needs that kind of thing, then it's nice to know that you can have some keyboard options as well.
Yeah, this is one of these things where the Steam controller should really come in handy if it works as advertised.
Yeah.
Also, there is Outlast, a really popular horror game where you play a journalist trapped in an insane asylum where insane is the least of your problems. It's in the style of the Amnesia games, where you are pretty much helpless against the environment, reliant on a light source, so to speak, and being chased by stuff you can't kill and which will kill you no problem.
Lovely.
And it has been super popular with screamy YouTubers and Twitch streamers. But that should not detract from it. It is actually supposedly a really good survival horror game. So, the remaining games are Super Splatters, which I do not know the first thing about, Pixel Piracy, which disappointingly is not a multiplayer game, even though it totally looked like one, and Unepic, a Metroidvania roguelite game, if I may use that term loosely, with a very on-the-nose kind of humor. But that's also supposed to be really good. So yeah, definitely pick that bundle up. But there's also another bundle. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, there's the Humble Weekly Bundle, which is meant to be focusing on some difficult games.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
4 out of the 6 of the titles in there support Linux. That's the limit of my awareness.
My awareness extends just a little bit beyond it, thanks to the run sheet. Because I see apparently we've got Cook Serve Delicious, Velocibox, Whoa Dave, and Tales of Maya. You guys play any of those?
No, I am as knowledgeable about that one as you guys are, but hey, here's the information. If you like difficult games, apparently this is a bundle you should consider.
I did see someone in chat being excited about Velocibox, but I don't know anything about it, so I can't really talk about how awesome it is. But it must be awesome. And apparently Tails is open source.
There is also another bundle. Is that still going? The April Fool one they started?
Oh, I don't know.
The Ballyhoo bundle?
Yeah, the Ballyhoo bundle, which basically includes nothing but a nice little video about old school games actual kids played in the actual outside area. You know, that part we don't usually go to. And well, everything goes to charity. It's a nice practical joke, which has also a good purpose.
No, I've got enough hipsters in my neighborhood. I can get them to make those toys for me.
It looks like it's not there anymore.
Oh, sad. But that was a nice little joke. That was actually the best April's Fool's joke I have seen. This year was kind of meager.
Yeah, I don't know. I never saw much value in the April Fool's Day stuff. It seems like it's I don't know, people use it as a excuse to be able to get away with deceiving other people. I don't know, it's weird. It like all seems to be about celebrating the misfortune and unpleasant treatment of others.
That's only the really bad ones.
I don't know. Sounds like you pretty much nailed the spirit of the day.
But moving on. Broken Age Acts 2 and 3 will be released on April the 28th. And that will be the culmination of the game portion of the Double Fine Adventure crowdfunding campaign, which started, what was that, back in 2012?
It's been some time ago.
But I mean, ultimately, I'm glad that it took the extra time, because we got a much more interesting game than was originally planned. I've had the pleasure to play the upcoming content, and yeah, it feels like unlike some episodic games and staged releases like this, it does feel like it'll fit together as a whole, which is it's really nice to see they put some care and attention to that. The subsequent conclusion of the game will be available to anybody who already has Act 1. And of course, if you buy the game after that's released, you get both at the same time. Like it's one thing rather than two parts. And the documentary episodes are being released to the public. I think they're planning to release one every day that starts with a T between now and release. So for people who haven't backed and stuff, who might be interested in having a glimpse behind the curtain there, certainly that's available to be checked out. And as a side note, it really irritates me that I can't do middle click paste from Google Docs.
Middle click paste is a devil.
A developer's tool, yes, you're right.
That was good. I'll hand that one to you. You can now drop the mic and walk away if you want to.
So last episode we had Morgan Jaffet from Defiant Development with us. We were talking about Hand of Fate, and we mentioned that they'd be upgrading to Unity 5 alongside the release of their upcoming DLC. For anybody who's interested in following that, there are now some screenshots available showing what the graphical changes are going to look like. And it looks like we're going to get some notable performance increases on Linux as well. But I haven't played any Unity 5 games yet, and kind of anxious to see how that ends up, whether it's going to have some teething issues or whether it's going to be rock solid for us at launch.
Well, you did play Unity 5 games before.
Oh, so I played one during the 7-day FPS thing, but it was only the web client, and it was all still in beta. I don't think I played anything else.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. There we go.
I think you did.
What did I play?
Let me check real quick. I can't check quick enough.
Evidently not. What game is it?
Pulsar. Isn't Pulsar already on Unity 5?
Oh, I don't know. Let me check.
Yes, it is. It is on 5.0.0 F4. So yeah, you already did.
Oh, well that's cool. I mean, Pulsar is possibly not the best example. And I see people mentioning City Skylines, and all I can think is that when that was released, I mean, even now, people are still talking about performance issues there.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. Apparently, Line of Gaming on Linux did stream it a bit, and originally it was running really, really well, but then a patch before release came, and it wasn't running really well anymore, but they've improved it a lot again, so yeah, it's not that abysmal. When I was first playing it, I was running at like 18 FPS in a more populated city, and nothing I did changed anything about that. And that's on a GTX 970, so there was just some mistake on their part. That wasn't even Unity's fault anymore. They just miffed something up.
Yeah, it's often hard to know, and I think we might have touched on this in previous episodes as well, is that it can be hard to know what's a game developer's responsibility or what's within the scope of what they can fix and what's actually upstream for the engine developers to fix, and what ends up being just config things for users, or what happens to be, kernel problems or whatever. There's like this massive spectrum upon which problems can fall. It's hard to know where they are. So War for the Overlord is out of early access.
Overworld.
War for the Over Everything.
Yes, and it's a Dungeon Keeper clone. A pretty on-the-nose Dungeon Keeper clone. There's not a lot of subtlety about that in there. Like, it's IP strip.
Oh, this is what you sent me for a trailer for the other day.
Yes, and it has an awesome April Fool's trailer. I mean, with that, you can agree this, if you do it right, that day isn't that bad. This tradition isn't that bad if you do it like that or like Humble.
Eh.
Yeah.
I know, I'm sure that trailer would have been funnier to other people.
Sure, that's a trailer. It's making fun of Australia, so we all like it.
I don't know, I just figure that if you're gonna make fun of Aussies, you should probably do it well. But I have to admit, it's better than most.
Why? It's not like anyone lives down there.
It's nice, it's peaceful and quiet.
Yes, but about the game, it's apparently very good at what it does, and since EA has totally cocked that one up with their abysmal mobile game, Dungeon Keeper, which everybody hated for very good reasons, yeah, you might want to check that game out. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, the game itself looks neat.
It's apparently the duty of indie studios to do EA franchises better. Like City Skylines has completely superseded SimCity after its completely bollocks release. And Maxis has been closed down, so there won't be any more SimCity, at least not from Maxis.
Wow, Maxis hasn't really been Maxis for a long time.
Yeah, it's not like we need them anymore now that we have cool indies. And there has been no proper Dungeon Keeper in forever, since Dungeon Keeper 2, and now there is a very good clone of it, so...
And it's on Linux.
EA, please keep screwing up your own franchises. There's so many people who do better at it than you. Just give them inspiration. Just keep releasing one crappy game that pees all over people's nostalgia, one after the other. Just do it. Some other people will pick it up, make money on it, and you can fade into irrelevance. Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, and Immortal just says Paradox hinted they might tackle a Sims type game, which would be a really great idea.
It's all about managing. No, I lost it. Sorry, it was funny in my mind.
Make it funny for us too.
I was gonna say that it was about managing political intrigue in a royal family, so you could like take the heir and put him in a swimming pool and take out the ladder and...
Yeah, you play a toddler that steals cookie and blames it on the cat, and then the cat gets euthanized, so...
Yeah, and then you have to marry people's cousins together, because otherwise the bloodline won't continue or something.
Well,
no, it'd be sweet to have a Sims type game that was set in like the Crusaders King universe. Is that Paradox? That's Paradox, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, good. I nearly embarrassed myself there.
But that's more like Paradox the studio. Paradox the publisher does just about everything these days. And they are super Linux friendly, so yay Paradox, do all the things so we actually have games to play in all these genres.
Yeah, I think Rake's doing a much better job with that joke than I am.
And let's move on to the next game.
Alright, Running with Rifles has come out of early access.
Hooray!
I think we had an event for that some time ago.
Yeah, I think we might have had 2 Running with Rifles events, but it's been many months. Well, it's nice to have the wildlife having presence on the show, you know?
Oh, ha.
I was just thinking, like, last time we got to do all this bird watching with Morgan.
That was all about wild trains, wasn't it?
Wild trains, yeah.
Well, it's only one train, but there were a million birds.
Oh, yeah, the birds were... That was the fun part. Like, right there towards the end of it. I was starting to hear them when I'd walk away from the computer.
I was trying to identify what they were and post the species in chat. But that's not really relevant. Pillars of Eternity is out. People seem excited and happy by this.
Absolutely. It's Obsidian's big Kickstarter game. They raised something about $4 million. It has taken 2.5 years and it has finally released. It's a really old school RPG, real time with pause, like pretty much like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, which was their nostalgia angle of pitching this. Though with its completely own IP, completely own world and setting.
Right.
And I have only just barely scratched the surface of it. I have played for 2 to 3 hours, haven't really gotten far yet, having been killed by a bear sometimes and then some wisps. It isn't pulling any punches, not even on normal difficulty. So yeah, if you like your hard old school RPGs, this one is pretty much a must pick up.
It looks nice.
There were some mean bugs, but apparently they have already been fixed. There was just a patch today, so go ahead. I've been waiting for some of these bugs to get fixed. So tomorrow might just be Pillars of Eternity day for me. And if I turn into a basement dwelling zombie in the meantime, that's completely on purpose.
Not me. I'm going back to Bejeweled.
But that usually turns you into a zombie on commute, the way I know it.
No, it turns me into a filthy casual.
Alright. Also, on the topic of high-performing crowdfunding campaigns, Linux was mentioned in the latest 10 questions for Chris Roberts thing. 10 for the chairman, that's what it's called. Which is a series of community-submitted questions that people can answer.
Might I interject that 10 for the chairman sounds like a spanking game?
It may well be. I don't know what goes on the other side on the other side of the camera. But yeah.
Oh man, wish list. What was it?
I apologize. I don't know where that came from. I just had to say it. So continue.
So part of the way that they are raising money is they have this extra thing that you can do if you want to give these guys even more money than they have. You can become a subscriber, and those funds go directly towards contributing to community activities and community content. People who are subscribers have the ability to submit questions, which can wind up in this show here. And someone spent their question on asking what the state of Linux support was. Now I mentioned, I think.
What? Let me get this straight. You get to ask like one question, and that was it.
No, I guess you can submit as many as you want, but they pick 10 to answer. I don't know how frequently they do them. Might be once a month. But I'm not a subscriber person, so I don't really know the ins and outs of what those people get access to.
We should not berate that person, even if it was a one and only question. If they ask that, they are our hero. They sacrifice themselves so we can have not that much of information, but yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah, I feel like it was very nice to see it mentioned in here as well. It had been mentioned in a previous one, like a really, really early one, where they were like, well, we'd like to do Linux support, but it's all going to depend upon whether or not the tech can do it. And really, what's been said in this one is not any different, really. It's kind of a case of the renderer upstream that Crytek are working on isn't ready yet, and until it is, we can't ship anything. So nothing new on that front. But this is also pretty much exactly the same story I got from Chris when I met him last year at PAX Australia, and sort of said, what's the status of Linux support for Star Citizen? Is there anything moving there? Because we're all kind of anxious to hear more. And he said, yeah, look, it's the renderer. We don't have an OpenGL renderer, and we got to wait for Crytek to sort something out. In the video here, though, Chris mentions the possibility of a Vulkan renderer possibly making a Linux client easier.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But yeah, unfortunately in the video, Chris says driver instead of renderer. But I think it's pretty clear from what he's saying that he's talking about the renderer. But yeah, well, nice to hear. I guess nice to hear them talking about Linux support, even if it's not anything new.
Yeah, let's hope Crytek will step it up, because there's more than just one game depending on it. There's still Kingdom Come Deliverance and the new Homefront. However that game will even look like after all the kerfuffle that went around it. But
and Evolve.
Yeah, that as well. So yeah, Crytek, step it up, damn it.
I mean, it's hard to know what the situation is. We don't really have enough information. It could be that there is an OpenGL renderer and it's enough for Evolve, but it's not enough for Star Citizen.
Yeah, that might be it.
Or it could be that the Evolve devs are working on their own renderer and they're going to contribute that back or something. It's really hard to know what the situation is without more information.
Fun, useless fact, the first Crytek game, Far Cry, that had an experimental OpenGL renderer built in. So if you feel like playing that game in Wine, you need to go into the config to enable it, but it is there. And so, yeah, they did it before, so they might be able to do it again. But let's talk about free stuff. Free stuff you can actually get right now and play. Pirates, Vikings, and Knights 2 is out now for Linux. You can grab it on Steam.
Have any of you played it? Either of you, I guess?
No, I might have played the original, like the first mod release way back when on Windows of the source version, Pirates, Vikings, and Knights 2, and it was just wasn't my kind of game. But you can find that out for yourself if you like it. It's free after all.
Well, I'm not very good at Dota 2 or CSGO. How do you think I might like this one?
I have not the first clue. It's just a more deathmatchy game with different weapons, different handling, and it has changed a lot, I believe, since I last played it years ago. So, download it and try it.
Do it!
Do it now!
Do what you want. So crowdfunding. Has anybody funded any crowds recently? Is there any funding of crowds news that we would like to cover? Anybody got anything that they want to bring to our attention before we close the show?
If you pay taxes in Germany, isn't that technically crowdfunding? FNAF. I get to do it, I am from here.
Where's that soundboard? We need like a...
So yeah, that's it, I guess.
Oh, you can like send us emails and stuff, yeah.
Exactly, that stuff. Our email is cast@steamlug.org. If you have feedback, if you want to tell us your deepest secrets, don't, because that would be stupid. And you can find us on IRC, irc.free.net, #SteamLUG if we want to be cool like the kids. On Twitter, there's always @SteamLUG.
Octothorpe SteamLUG, please. Please.
We are even on Google Plus, God knows why. It's plus.google.com /plus SteamLUG. And YouTube.
Plus.
All the pluses. And YouTube. What are we called on YouTube? SteamLUG. Yes.
Hooray!
And it's actually a really nice way to watch our podcasts when the video on demand goes live. And it has been quite popular so far. Our Ryan Gordon episode was watched like a lot of times for our usual metrics.
Oh yeah? I haven't had a chance to look at the numbers yet.
Yeah, it has like over 190 views.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that's not bad considering that's only been out for a little bit.
Considering we do like no promotion at all, it's quite good.
Thank you very much for joining us. It has been a huge pleasure as always.
See ya.
Yeah, see everybody.
Bye!
Bye, everybody.